Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is wAFF and we have just had some massive news literally just dropped about the Last of Us TV show and who they have cast for their lead characters, Joel and Ellie, and I don't know how I feel about it. I'm sure most of you might have seen this already, but if you haven't, it is going all over it's all over the internet right now. Twitter is going crazy about it. Instagram's going crazy about it. People are going crazy about it. And yeah, they've cast Joel and Ellie. Joel is going to be played by Pedro Pascal, and Ellie is going to be played by Bella Ramsay. There's so many mixed feelings that I have about this casting choice. I just really don't know how I actually feel about it, and I just wanted to speak about it, share it with you guys, and you guys can let me know what you think. Do you think that it's going to be good casting or not? Because I really can't decide right now. Here are my thoughts, and then let me know if you agree or you don't. So the choice to have Pedro Pascal play Joel is, I can understand why Pedro Pascal, I guess if he's auditioned, I can understand why you would choose him because he is a sick actor. I actually love Pedro Pascal. I think he's a great actor. I think he's smashed every role that he's had. And obviously coming off the back of the success of The Mandalorian and how that's been received, even though we don't even really get to see Pedro's face or anything. He's obviously got the mask on the whole time. We know he's there, he's acting for the most part anyway, and you know his career is really doing so well at the moment, so I would understand why you would choose someone like Pedro Pascal. And also, if we're honest, he doesn't look too far away from what Joel looks like. He's not like a complete change of how Joel looks. He has a similar look, although I wouldn't personally choose Pedro to play Joel. I'm not concerned about how his performance will be. He will actually probably do a really, really good job. I think he's great. I think he's amazing. But when you come to think of all the different choices that are available, me and my friend have been talking about what other actors could play this role. And one of the first people that came to mind was Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman would be an amazing Joel. Like, if you take anything from what he's done for Logan and the Wolverine, obviously the same character, but the last film, Logan, that he did, like, imagine putting that type of feel of a character into Joel, but it's still Hugh Jackman, and he's just putting that much of a performance in it. It's this really fucked up, serious, rugged guy who's just been through everything. He's been through everything, and he's sick of it all, and he's just trying to get by and survive. That's the kind of feel that I kind of want for Joel. For me personally, I would want how Logan is to be how Joel is. Obviously, it's a different story. It'd be different, but like, do you get what I mean? I would want it to be that serious and gritty, and I hope that that's what they're still going to do with this. I imagine they're going to, because I didn't realize, and this was one concern that I had, was I didn't know if Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann, who is the director and the creator of The Last of Us, and obviously Naughty Dog is the developers who created The Last of Us series, but I didn't know if they sold the rights to HBO, and HBO have just took full creative control, and Neil Druckmann doesn't really have anything to do with it. But Neil Druckmann just literally posted a tweet saying that how happy he is to have Pedro Pascal on board for his show. So that basically confirms to me that Neil definitely has some creative control in this show, which I'm happy about. I know a lot of people will be pissed off because a lot of people are furious with The Last of Us 2. Me personally, it's pretty much one of my favorite games that I've ever played. I absolutely loved it. To me, it was groundbreaking. It was a masterpiece. That it was for me. Just everything about it was amazing. Yeah, I did have issues with some of the story and how we focus too much on. By the way, this is actually spoilers for The Last of Us 2. I'm not going to go into full proper spoilers because I want to keep some secrets for the actual show if they do follow the same storyline. So yeah, don't watch any more of this. I mean, you can do if you want, but I wouldn't if I were you. So for The Last of Us 2, we basically spent half the game playing as this new girl called Abby, which for me was what I didn't like about the game. Even though I actually liked the character Abby, I also liked the choice of having her there, and I liked her story arc and everything that happened with Abby, and the whole story of The Last of Us 2. I personally loved it, but we did spend too much time as Abby, and I didn't like that. It kind of took away from me what I was wanting to feel and experience, which was Ellie's story. And we obviously got that, but I did feel like I don't know, it was too much of Abby basically. And a lot of other shit happened in this, especially one specific thing happens in the Last of Us 2 game that stands out amongst all the shit that happened. It's like the main thing that shocked everybody, and this is the thing that made everyone go crazy. And a lot of the people who play this game absolutely hate it. They think it's the worst game ever, which I think it's got to be an exaggeration, because it's actually one of the best games ever. But I understand people did get really pissed off with this bold choice that they made for a certain character. Yeah, Neil Druckmann, the director, has been given so much shit. Even the actors who played some of these characters were getting death threats and stuff, as well as Neil. And like, it's just so pathetic and stupid, and people are just absolutely mental. But anyway, going back to the point of what I'm on about, is that for me, I loved how that story was, and the choices that they made, and the bold choices that they made. And obviously Neil Druckmann was the creative director of all of that, so the fact that he's on board with the show, for me, I'm happy about. Like, I'm actually really happy about it, because the actual feel and the tone of The Last of Us 2 is exactly what I would want to see in the TV series, because the TV series needs to be raw, it needs to be brutal, it needs to be scary, it needs to be everything that The Last of Us series has. And sometimes when people try and take on some sort of franchise and create it into a film, pretty much most of the time it turns out to be absolutely shite. Look at the Resident Evil movies. I mean, I think they're shit. Sorry for anyone who likes them, but like, they're not Resident Evil to me. They're just stupid. So like, it doesn't really ever work out. Tomb Raider films never really worked out to be that good. Just no one really seems to get it right, I don't think. So I am concerned about the show, but having Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann involved actually gives me hope that this is actually going to turn out to be good. So now going back to Pedro Pascal, is he going to do a good Joel? I think yes. I think he will do a really good job. I think we will be happy in the long run, but it's going to be difficult. This is what I also think. I would prefer it if they just chose a completely unknown actor to play Joel who looks just like Joel. Do you know what I mean? Because then we would believe that that is Joel more than seeing Pedro Pascal play him, because I'm going to look at Joel and be like, okay, that's just Pedro Pascal playing Joel. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm going to believe the character as much as I would want to, because I'm just looking at him going, that's Pedro Pascal. He's such a well-known actor now that I would have preferred it. As much as I would have liked Hugh Jackman to play him, I also, if I had the choice, I would probably I'd probably try and go for a new actor who's not really known. He's a new face, create a star out of a new actor, but actually give him the role of being Joel and just become him, and let the audience really believe that we're actually watching these two characters go through this post-apocalyptic fucking zombie world, and like actually believe that it's happening. Having such a huge star definitely can affect that and make you sort of come away from the belief of it, I think. And that leads me into the next point, which is basically Ellie. Ellie is a very different casting choice, again, that I would have that I expected, at least. I don't know if I would have casted her or not. You'd have to obviously audition them and then figure out, do they actually have the feel of Ellie? Could they actually pull it off? And this little girl, Bella Ramsay, I mean, she's probably old. I don't know how old she is now, but when we seen her last was in the Game of Thrones, and she was well young. I don't know how old she was, but she was really, really young. And that's just in my mind now. I'm like, I keep thinking, she's way too young to play Ellie, isn't she? But obviously it's been years now since Game of Thrones, so she's obviously grown up more. She is a cool little actress. We only got to see a little bit. I've only ever seen her in the Game of Thrones, and she was actually a sick little character, even though we only got to see her 2 or 3 times in the whole series, and she only had a little bit of dialogue. She was badass. And obviously the writing was given to her, and she played that part really, really well. And she delivered her lines so good that, you know, I actually think that she would probably be a really good Ellie. I don't know. This is why I'm confused, because I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't have cast her. I would get someone who looks more like Ellie. And I don't know, just for me, if you were going to try and turn a game into a film or to a TV series, then I would make sure that whoever I casted looks exactly like as close as you can get to the characters. And Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsay just don't look like Joel and Ellie to me. Maybe once they've got all the costumes and fucking makeup and all that shit, then maybe we'll be like, all right, okay, cool. Because there's been a lot of casting choices in the past that I've seen for other things. I'm like, no way. That's going to be shit. That's going to be shit. And then you watch it and you're like, that was really good. Well done to the cast. So who knows? We can only kind of just imagine it right now. We can't really say what it's going to be like. I think it's going to be great. It's on HBO. HBO so far have smashed it. If they're going to put as much effort and money into like what the Game of Thrones was, maybe it wouldn't need to be that much of a budget for The Last of Us, because, you know, Game of Thrones is so epic in scale, all the different cities and dragons and all that shit, that maybe we won't need that much of a budget for the Last of Us series. But still, if they actually really go at it and they put everything they can into this series, because they're still going to have to create all these zombies and clickers, and there's so many things in this world that's so interesting, right? Other than Joel and Ellie, the world itself is so interesting that, you know, it's still going to have to be a big budget show for it to look right. So I've got no doubt HBO are going to do that and smash it. But going back to Bella Ramsay, she's unknown. So this is what I actually think is a good thing, is because she isn't very well known. I don't know much about her. I've only seen her on one thing, Game of Thrones, and she could actually really do an amazing job. And if she does such a good job, she's going to be a proper good Ellie, because everybody wants to have a good Ellie. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to go through the show. Imagine watching the show and it's just like, they're not doing that good of a job to actually be these characters. I don't feel like they're Joel and Ellie. It would just be devastating, because this game is so important to so many people. This is like people's favorite games. I know the first one is a majority of people's favorite, but like for me, The Last of Us 2 is pretty much one of my favorite games. I want this show to be amazing. It just has to be amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's set up for a fucking really cool, sick series. The Last of Us HBO TV series. We're going to get a couple of seasons, and we're going to start off at the beginning of The Last of Us 1. I don't know if they're going to take any different directions, but like if we can go right back to The Last of Us 1 and just go through that storyline on a TV show, that's going to be absolutely sick. Think about it, because just everything that happens in that first game. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, because I know most of you probably will have played the games, but if you haven't, I don't want to spoil anything for you for the games, but also to watch the show. So I'm not going to go into any more spoilers, actually. But the things that happen, especially the very beginning of the first game, is just so gripping, and it gets you straight into that game. The characters that we get to meet, the things that happen to the characters even so early on, the stuff that Joel has to go through from the beginning, you know, it's very dark, deep shit, and it's emotional stuff. And I just think that as a TV series, it would just, imagine like actually just watching the TV show but have never played the games, but they follow that storyline. You'd be like, this is fucking sick, this is so good. And also like the zombies that they have, the clickers, and all the different types of enemies that they face. I just think it's just set up to be an amazing show. So I'm proper looking forward to it. I don't know when it's going to come out. It does say on IMDb that it's going to be coming out in 2021, which can't be true, because they've only just cast the main characters and it's already February. So it's not going to come out this year, but who cares? Like, I'm happy to wait. I'm just really looking forward to it. And I'm actually really glad that we're getting a TV show about The Last of Us, and fingers crossed it really, really does well and they smash it. Do I want them to take any other directions than what the games have? Not really, no. I don't think that they should do that, because why would you do that? Why would you make the series completely different to what the game is? And I know a lot of people will want definitely the series when it gets into like the second game to definitely make different choices, I imagine, or at least keep the same choices, but deliver them better. So things that happen in the second game that have caused so much controversy and so much like anger towards the franchise, still do them, but just deliver them differently. Maybe, you know, spend a bit more time getting to these points and these places, and maybe they will be received better by the fans and the audience. But I guess going into this, if you haven't played the games and you just watch it and it follows the exact same storyline as both games, I think that would be, I mean, I loved the storyline of all of it and the choices they made, so I'm going to be happy anyway. But as a person watching it who has never played the games and actually seen it all unravel and unfold how it does from start to finish, what we've seen in the first two games, then I think that would blow your head off. And the choices that happen will be amazing. And also, if you go to Game of Thrones, the stuff that happens in Game of Thrones that are shocking really worked. They really worked. And that's kind of what kept people so intrigued by this show, was like these crazy, like, creative choices that happen, and how the writing is, and just what happens to these characters in the Game of Thrones is so dark and fucked up that, like, it was just shocking. You sat there going, I can't believe I can't believe that's just happened. I can't believe it. It just created so much hype and conversation around the Game of Thrones. It was just fascinating and an exciting series. So if they can keep the writing to a level where constantly being taken in and gripped by the writing and the decisions and how shocking the storyline is, then I think it's just going to be a really, really cool thing to watch. Anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments what you think. Are you happy with this casting choice or not? Do you think that Pedro Pascal will play a good Joel? What's your thoughts on that? And also, what do you think to Bella Ramsay playing Ellie? Like, what do you think to this? Because obviously, if you got to this point, I feel really mixed up about it. I don't know how to feel at all, but I'm hopeful. But please let me know what you guys think. And also, are you happy that Neil Druckmann is going to be in control of this series, or at least a part of it? Let me know down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. If you did enjoy this video, then please hit the like button. That would be amazing for me. And if you want to stay updated with my videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And I'll be seeing you next time on wAFF World.